Hello, my name is Paul Henry, Security and Forensic Analyst for Lumension. Welcome to our Patch Tuesday update for August 2010. As expected, we have a large release from Microsoft covering 15 bulletins, 9 of which are critical. This will be a disruptive Patch Tuesday given the broad range of products impacted and the required restarts. Initial priorities, as always, should be the 9 critical vulnerabilities, followed by the remaining balance of important and moderate patches. Now, looking at the details of the critical bulletins from Microsoft. MS-10-046 is the vulnerability in the Windows shell that could allow remote code execution. This is a general release of Microsoft's out-of-band patch released earlier. MS-10-049 takes care of vulnerabilities in S-channel that could allow remote code execution. MS-10-051 takes care of a vulnerability in Microsoft XML core services that could allow remote code execution. MS-10-052 takes care of vulnerabilities in the Microsoft MPEG Layer 3 codecs that could allow remote code execution. MS-10-053 is a cumulative security update for Microsoft's Internet Explorer. MS-10-054 handles vulnerabilities in SMB Server that could allow remote code execution. MS-10-055 takes care of a vulnerability in the Syntax codec that could allow remote code execution. MS-10-056 takes care of vulnerabilities in Microsoft Office Word that could allow remote code execution. And lastly, MS-10-060 handles vulnerabilities in the Microsoft .NET Common Language Runtime and in Microsoft Silverlight that could allow remote code execution. Now, of course, the balance of the patches, although not critical, should not be ignored in today's environment, where more often than not, lesser impact vulnerabilities are simply combined together to provide a greater chance of success for cybercriminals. Now, as well, while the spotlight is on Microsoft today, let us not forget that Microsoft clearly does not have any exclusive on software vulnerabilities. While no one can dispute that the Patch Tuesday load from Microsoft for this Patch Tuesday is high, we all need to keep some perspective. Since the week of Microsoft Patch Tuesday previously back in July, CERT has released over 130 bulletins for software vulnerabilities that are rated high. Now, that's with a CVSS score of 7.0 through 10. Now, out of the more than 130 bulletins, Microsoft was only noted as the vendor in one of the published CERT bulletins for that given period. It's also important to note that while Microsoft rushed out an out-of-band patch last week for the link issue and is putting out a lot of fires this week, one new Day Zero vulnerability remains unpatched. It's a kernel-level vulnerability that's impacting all versions of Windows, including Windows 7. The vulnerability involves a heap overflow, which of course is more difficult to take advantage of than a traditional overflow. However, if executed, it can reportedly afford an escalation of privilege, a denial of service, or potentially execute arbitrary code with kernel privileges. Now, other flaw remediation concerns this Patch Tuesday. Apple is preparing to roll out a patch for a serious issue that can jailbreak an iPhone, an iTouch, or an iPad device. The exploit can be triggered by a drive-by malware site or by tricking the user into opening a specially crafted PDF. Adobe is also creating a patch for Adobe Reader 9.3.3 for Windows, Mac OS X, and Unix, and Adobe Acrobat for Windows and Mac, as well as Reader and Acrobat versions 8.2.3 for the same platforms to resolve a number of security issues. And of course, we've seen the typical flurry of browser patches this period from all vendors. This would include Chrome, Mozilla, and Microsoft. Important to note that the Chrome patches were installed silently, and reportedly, Mozilla is about to introduce silent patching for their browser as well in an upcoming release. Now, some in the community are concerned about the impact that silent patching will have on network bandwidth in an enterprise environment, especially with a large population of users running the browser. Now, while most would agree silent patching has become a necessity for home users, it could potentially be disruptive within an enterprise environment, and many feel it's usually better handled in an efficient distributed model that affords full administrative control. This has been our Patch Tuesday update for August 2010. Thank you for listening.